you for your attendance today. My name is Curran Price, Chair of the Economic Development Committee. I want to welcome you to the last committee meeting of the year. Oh,
No, we have one more.
I'm sorry.
I was like, wait,
Second
what?
to last, before the break.
Okay, second to last. For those of you that are such purists. But joined today by my colleague, Monica Rodriguez. And with that, we are ready to begin this meeting. Okay, we have no general comment, so we will go right to
We don't have
any multiples?
No.
No multiple items either.
So,
All right, we're going to close the public comment at this time. And without objection, council member, we're going to take items 1, 3, 4, 6 through 17 on consent. 1, 3, 4, 6 through 17 on consent. Without objection, that will be the order. Okay, Mr. Clerk, where does that take us?
That takes us to item number 3. Would you like me to read
item 2.
Sorry, not item number 2. Would you like me to read that?
Not so
into the record?
fast. Yes, sir, please.
Item number 2 is a report from the Chief Legislative Analyst relative to the Executive Task Force on Youth Development.
Okay, we're going to take some public comment first. Yeah, we've got several who want to speak on this matter. Let me just ask you to keep your comments to 1 minute. And let's have up to the table Heaven Pagan, Exima Munoz, Destiny Luna, and Alejandro Marino.
Okay. You got it?
If you heard your name, Haven? Exmina, Destiny, Alejandro. Pick a chair, any chair. You've got a minute, and we're happy to welcome you today. Your name and your comment.
Go ahead.
Who's first? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Alejandro, and I am a youth leader here at Invest in Youth Coalition. I am here to voice my support for the creation of Youth Development Task Force. I want to speak up and share why it is important that youth who have been doing this work do not get left behind. Youth programs have helped me by doing good in school and reaching my goals. I have been a part of Invest in Youth campaign for 3 years, and I do worry that the selection process of how youth are appointed can be unfair because the mayor and council president do not know the youth involved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Heaven Pagan. I am currently attending City of Angels, and I am a youth leader here with the Invest in Youth Coalition. I am here to voice my support for the creation of a youth development task force, but I want to speak up and share why it is important that youth who have been doing the work do not get left behind. Youth in the coalition understand that the language of the Invest in Youth campaign gives all youth the opportunity to succeed and find their voice. Therefore, we should be part of this conversation. Once again, thank you for Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez for pushing forward our movement.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Destiny Luna, and I am a youth leader here with the Invest in Youth Coalition. I want to start off by saying that youth development program means what it means to me. Youth programs have helped me by supporting me with school, helping me make decisions towards college, why it's important for me, helped me with homework, keeping my grades steady, and having spaces. Each of us fit to attend youth programs because it helps me communicate and helps me find my voice because youth voices matter. I'd like other youth to get the same opportunities for there to be more youth programs so youth won't be on the streets or for youth not feeling like they don't have a space. Once again, thank you for Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez for pushing forward our movement.
Thank you. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jimena Munoz. I live in Boyle Heights. I am a youth leader here with the Invest in Youth campaign. I am here to support for the creation of the Youth Development Task. I want to speak up and share why it is important that youth who are doing this work don't get left behind. I believe that all young people should have access to supporting resources. For myself, I find support and feel safe at Legacy LA. Through the programs at Legacy, I found my voice and the need to speak up. I think Mayor Garcetti should hear our opinions and what we want to say about the campaign and why we want to speak up. Therefore, the elected youth should come from youth leaders working on this campaign.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, we next have Esmeralda Garcia, Angel Munoz, Christian Flores, and Sandra Flores. If you'll just come right up. Okay, two more. Come on down. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Angel Munoz. I have been a part of the Invest in Youth Coalition for less than a year. But in that span of time, I've learned how dedicated these people are to the campaign. So I think it's ridiculous that we've been left out of what we most wanted. It's an atrocity that this council has left us in the dark after everything we've done to get here. So in short, we do expect to have a say in this still developing Youth Development Task Force.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Esmeralda Garcia, and I am a youth leader here with the Invest in Youth Coalition. We encourage the City Council to take a strong position of support for the Youth Development Task Force and encourage that advocates, nonprofit organizations, and youth who have been doing this work themselves be engaged in this process. The youth working on this campaign have come to understand that changing the dates on these meetings are mandatory in order for youth to have a chance to participate and be more engaged in this process. Once again, thank you to Monica Rodriguez.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
It's okay. Pull the mic. Pull it up to you. Yeah, there you go.
Good afternoon. My name is Christian Flores, and I am a youth leader here with Invest in Youth Coalition. I believe having this task force could start the process to build bridges and create more chances for the kids in school who just don't grasp the subject or were left behind, so they could catch up and have more resources to help them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Flores, and I am a youth leader here with Invest in Youth Coalition. I have been a part of the Invest in Youth campaign for 3.5 years. I am excited that we are here to discuss that task force. The task force will allow the city to have an open discussion about how best to support young people, and it is the first step towards a citywide department. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for your comments. Okay, next up, Pierre Arriola, Argiana Jaime, Brittany Rojas, and Maria Guadalupe.
Good afternoon. My name is Pierre Arriola, and I'm the Executive Director and founder of the Great One-Eighters, a community organization based out of the San Fernando Valley. And I'm also one of the core members of the Invest in Youth Coalition. As a youth growing up in Pacoima, I oftentimes found myself lost and at wit's end without direction and mentorship. And through the youth programs that I was able to be involved in, such as Pacoima Beautiful, Youth Speak, and various others that were in our community at the time, I was blessed enough to be able to given the opportunity and the platform to understand myself and my community and my place in this world. I was lucky enough to have created the Great One-Eighters with my best friends when we were coming out of San Fernando High School. And in that experience, I've come to understand various ins and outs of youth organizing work. I hope that as I endorse and support this motion, I hope that this department really prioritizes actively building bridges for youth and service providers. We need to connect youth across socioeconomic spectrums in Los Angeles, regardless of their creed, color, or context. And in addition to that, connect service providers with capacity building opportunities to be able to find funding and accountability measures that are equitable throughout the city.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Adriana Jaime. I'm currently a sophomore at Bravo High School, and I'm from the Invest in Youth Coalition, who believe in a citywide youth development department will improve the lives of young people across LA. Being a part of this amazing program, I'm seeing how much of a major impact this is creating in the youth's lives. All have opportunities and are provided with different resources some may not have at home. Clubs, school assistance, case management, lead opportunities, and so much more. The major values I've seen been placed on youth consist of support, encouragement, and most of all, hope. However, we need to rethink the way the city responds to the needs of young people. While City Hall is doing a lot, spending around $178 million, it is inefficient as programs are spread across 20 departments without opportunities for coordination. And I have one question: where is that money allocated? Members of this coalition have come from low-income families and would love for their communities to flourish and for the youth to have opportunities to make our voices heard. Today, we come together to improve the livelihood of youth, communities, and our society. On behalf of the Youth Coalition, I ask you to allow us to have a say in the communities that we love and cherish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria Guadalupe, and I am a youth leader here with the Investing Youth Coalition. Youth programs have helped me by having many resources to help me do good, and be successful in school. Thanks to these programs like Legacy LA, I will graduate before June 2020, which will be February 2020. I think the organizations already doing the work should be able to decide and nominate which youth should be on the task force. We look forward to working with city leadership on this important issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Brittany Acelo Rojas, and I'm currently attending Bravo Medical Magnet High School. I am from the Invest in Youth Coalition, which incorporates advocates, parents, and youth themselves who believe in the citywide youth development department that would surpass the lives of young people across Los Angeles. To this day, Los Angeles needs to rethink the need for task force. In Los Angeles, over 200,000 young people live in poverty. 68,000 are discontinued from school and the workforce. 3,000 are homeless, and countless others are arrested and incarcerated. This task force is so important. It will pave the way for a new approach, one that should take into account financial strategy and racial equality. As we know, Black and Latino youth are disproportionately affected. Finally, we impulse that task force members represent the communities they are advocating, and the city take into account racial and cultural diversity. Thank you, Councilor Rodriguez, for moving with this issue, and looking forward to working with you.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have Susana Rodriguez, Martin Razio, Renato Gira, Maria Lu Galanche. Everybody here? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Martin Razo. I am a youth leader with the Invest in Youth Coalition. I am excited that we are here to discuss the task force. The task force, it would be allowed the city to have an open discussion about how is it best to support young people, and is it the first step towards a citywide department. I think the best way for a department is a organization that is already doing the work, and they should be able to decide and nominate which youth should be on the task force. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Susana Rodriguez. I'm from District 14. I attend Mendez High School. I'm a senior currently, hopefully graduating by 2020. Youth programs have benefited me in the long run, where I have the resources needed to be able to graduate, to learn more about what I want to be when I grow up. It's given me an opportunity to be a leader, to show my leadership skills and gain more knowledge on what actually happens around my community and city. So I believe this task force should include LGBT communities, Native and Indigenous people, because they are often left out and their opinions usually apparently don't matter, but they do. They're one of the strongest and people I've met. I also believe that we should be able to build bridges through this task force and build a community within itself. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Renato Lira. I am the director of the San Fernando Valley LGBT Community Center. It's one of the first ones in the San Fernando Valley. I know that we make those decisions, we make sure that LGBTQ, it's in on to get this funding is to make sure there are the right organizations, not other organizations. So we make sure that LGBT has a strong message when it comes to this kind of decision. Make sure that we lack the funding to those organizations in the Valley. And not only that, it's that we need to also identity, disabled, all make sure that everyone has the right fair share for our communities, that we're not left out, especially in the San Fernando Valley, that we work really hard. We make sure that our youth are safe, make sure that they get the private services they need. So I hope that you guys put that on the table. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Maria.
Hello. Thank you once again for allowing us to be here and testify on behalf of this item. I want to thank Councilwoman Rodriguez for introducing this, along with Councilman Huizar and Councilman Price for prioritizing this in your committee. Your leadership has been awesome. What can I say besides what all our youth have said already? Some of the data that I was going to present, actually, they've already touched on. But I guess what I would touch on today is our excitement for moving this along, but also the opportunity to create a citywide strategy for youth. As Adriana mentioned, youth programs are spread across 20 departments. We don't have a vision for youth, and yet we have 200 youth in poverty and 65,000 disconnected youth. So it's really important that we work together to develop a vision and to allow youth voices to shape that vision, so that we ensure that our investment, our current investment and future investment, is connected to what youth need. So thank you once again, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your comments. Liliana Martinez, Emmanuel De Ligue, Mercedes Acri, and Eddie Martinez. I apologize if any of the names were botched, but I'm glad you know who you are. Even if I don't. Okay, thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Mercedes Arce. Primero quiero agradecerles por todo el apoyo que nos han brindado. Como madre de 3 jóvenes y representante comunitaria.
Okay, later.
Good morning. My name is Mercedes Arce. Thank you for having us here today as a mother and a community leader.
Consideramos que es de suma importancia hacer un cambio en las edades de los jóvenes.
We feel that it is extremely important to make a change in the lives of young people.
De nuestros representantes juveniles que sea de 16 a 24 años. Gracias.
And to ensure that the youth representatives on this task force are not 16 to 19, but 16 to 24. Thank you.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Liliana Martínez. Primero que nada, gracias por escuchar la voz de la comunidad.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Liliana Martinez. First and foremost, thank you so much for listening to the community's voice.
Estoy aquí porque creo que es de suma importancia que padres que han trabajado y saben que queremos el Youth Council, está de suma importancia que estemos incluidos en el comité.
I'm here to say that it is extremely important that parents who have been engaged and who care about their young people, who care about their youth, are included in this committee.
Porque sabemos por qué lo queremos y cómo lo queremos.
Because we know what we want and how we want it.
Y que también se incluya a las personas LGBTQ.
And to make sure that we're also inclusive of the LGBTQ community.
Y una vez más, gracias por escuchar la voz de la comunidad. Es de suma importancia porque podemos hacer cambios favorables que nos ayudan a nosotros como comunidad de bajos recursos.
And again, thank you very much for listening to the voice of the community, because it is very important, because we are here to speak on the things that we need in our communities of low resources.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Eddie Martinez. I'm the Executive Director of Latino Equality Alliance. We provide a safe space for LGBT youth at Mi Centro to be themselves, to be leaders in the community, and to be active and to be representatives in efforts. So I'm here today asking that the task force represents those coalitions that have been out there fighting for this youth development, and also that the task force have representation from LGBTQ serving organization, and that our queer and trans youth are part of that task force as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Emmanuel Deleage. I'm the executive director of Casa 0101 Theater here in Boyle Heights, and we serve youth. We have a robust arts education program, and I am reminded of Father Greg Boyle, who started Homeboy Industries, who says he's never met a bad young person. He says he's met a lot of traumatized youth, but never a bad youth, right? And so I very strongly believe in the task force, in the youth development department, because a lot of youth need attention, need love, and we need to focus our resources and figure out how to bring all these resources together in a unified strategy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, our last four speakers, Natalie Golenez, Betty Oliva, Marvela Muro, and Mario Friedelin.
Good afternoon. My name is Natalie Godinez, and I am the Community Engagement Coordinator at Self-Help Graphics, and we're part of the Invest in Youth Coalition. I'm here today to urge you to include the voices of youth-serving organizations in the task force and make sure that we can nominate the youth and the people who are be serving in this task force. I'm also here to represent our youth committee. We have a youth committee of 9 members, ages 16 to 24. So we also want to urge you to extend the age of the youth to 24, so we can include people who have been actively participating in this campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Marvella Muro. I am from Self-Help Graphics as well, and from the Invest in Youth Coalition. I'm here to advocate for the task force as well, and as a former youth, and although young at heart, I know that I would have, and you would have also benefited from a department as well. So putting yourself in those shoes, thinking back as your needs when you were young, a department would have benefited you and your peers and your siblings. And also to emphasize that the task force and the youth department should be structured as in the thought process as in working with and not just for the youth. So therefore, including the youth and leaders and organizations already working on this campaign would be beneficial for the department as a whole and the city.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mario Fedlin. I'm the CEO and founder of an organization called Changeist. I also serve as a Barack Obama Foundation Fellow this year, looking at positive youth development across this country and working right now to scale up youth efforts across the state of California. And I'm so excited about being here. Thank you, Councilwoman Rodriguez, for supporting this, because we are at this moment where I'm looking at different markets as in Stockton, we're looking at the Bay Area and across this country, and how municipalities are putting together and trying to piece together a strategy for young people. And some people are doing it in smaller, with smaller budgets, and we have a real opportunity now to show the country what it looks like to pull together resources to not just support young people that are already struggling or having trouble, which is where we're spending majority of our $178 million, but really looking at all young people when they're not in trouble and lifting them up, because they don't just magically show up on our doorsteps when they're 21, 25. They exist now, and so we should start to invest in them as young people with whole voices and ready to lead. So thank you so much and we hope that you will extend the age to 24. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Betty Avila. I'm Executive Director of Self-Help Graphics, and I want to thank Councilmember Rodriguez for her leadership in getting us to this point. It's been quite a journey. I do want to share that it's incredibly disappointing and I think embarrassing that the city of Los Angeles doesn't have a youth development department yet. We're the only major city in the U.S. without one. So again, this is a critical moment for us. I do want to echo the piece about the age range for the task force to be up to 24 years old. Self-Help Graphics works with young people up to that age, the transitional ages of 18 to 24. Just because a young person is aged out of high school programs, it doesn't mean that they're ready for the world at all. Like we're definitely receiving young people who are benefiting so much from youth programs up through 24. So we want their voices represented as well. And I also want to share that in terms of where we're investing funds, echoing what Mario has said, about focusing broadly on young people as a resource to our city, not just the ones who need help. and are struggling.
Okay, that's going to conclude our public comment. I want to thank all of the speakers for your comments. I want to thank the organizations that are involved, that have been involved on this issue. I want to thank Councilwoman Rodriguez for her steadfast leadership on making sure that these issues receive the right kind of attention. Let's ask the staff to come up to the table. I think there may be a few questions, and I'm sure the Councilwoman has a comment or two to make. Let me just point out that we know how important youth are in our community. It's an important component of economic development. I mean, that is our community. And it is a little disturbing to know that we've got youth services spread out over 24, 25 departments, almost $200 million. Those are real dollars expended. And we need to have a better way to figure out how we coordinate and collaborate in ways that make a lot of sense. In my district alone, a third of the population is under 18. And so I hear you. I heard all the comments that were made. But give us an idea on the...
Mr. Chair, if I might, before we hear from the CLA on the report, I just want to take a moment and thank you. I want to thank you, first of all, for your leadership in this as well. I know you are someone who recognizes and values the voices of youth, particularly in your community, and the need for us to have this conversation. And so for even accelerating, prior to me even being on this committee, I want to thank you for hearing this item when we were first starting this conversation. I also want to take a minute to thank all of the coalition members that are here. When we look at the voices and the faces and the diversity that is here, there's plenty of other things that youth can be doing at 2 o'clock, or 1 o'clock rather, on a Tuesday afternoon when many of them are on break. And so I think it speaks and underscores to their commitment to advocate for something that has been sorely missing in the city of Los Angeles, one of which is something that was ripped away from the city as a result of the economic downturn. When we lost the Department on Children, Youth, and Their Families, an agency that was wholly focused in making sure that youth voices and family needs were being addressed in the city in a comprehensive and thoughtful way, we lost our guiding principle of, as a city, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the very fabric of individuals that are impacted, that are the most vulnerable in our community, our youth and our families. And when we talk about the needs of our youth, they are far diverse and far greater than efforts that we are doing on the intervention side once we've already gone too far down a path that we can't redirect these efforts. So I want to thank everyone that is here, and I especially want to highlight and underscore the diversity of the voices that were here, reflective of not just the ethnic diversity, but the advocacy groups from LGBTQ, from our arts communities, from youth engagement, interventionists, you name it. Everyone is reflected here, as well as in age. And I greatly appreciate that, because as someone who used to get into good trouble and a little bit of bad trouble when I was a kid, I appreciate that this is a conversation that is being led by the very voices that are seeking to help transform the conversation here in the city. Because what we don't need are bureaucrats trying to invent the way we should approach these thoughtful conversations when it's not connected to the real needs of the people that are in the street experiencing the struggles of what programs are being offered or not offered today. And I'm especially excited that we're engaged in a conversation at this time to develop a task force that isn't going to belabor what we already know and how dysfunctional or ineffective or inefficient our process currently is. We don't need to replicate and create another ineffective and zero outcome process. So I'm excited to have a conversation around the development of a task force that will be effective in leading a thoughtful conversation to assure that there is adequate representation, but more importantly, that we see a light at the end of the tunnel so that the city of Los Angeles doesn't have to be the second largest city in the country, but taking a back seat to cities like San Francisco, cities like New York, and so many other cities, great cities, that have prioritized youth development in a meaningful way, in a conversation, in a way that we have not done in the city of Los Angeles. So I want to thank you so much, and I look forward to engaging in this conversation on the report.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Darrell Powell, and I'm with the Chief Legislative Analyst's Office, and I'll be providing the report to you. Back in March 20th, 2019, Council instructed the CLA, with the assistance of the CO and relevant city departments, to report on the following. 1, options to establish an executive task force on youth development, charged with formulating a city youth development program with recommendations on the task force composition and selection process for its members. Secondly, it recommended a comprehensive assistance of all the funding and programmatic ways the city supports youth and funding options and steps necessary to establish a department, commission, or office for implementing a city youth development program. Back in March 1st, 2019, the CO and CLA released a joint report with results of the youth program survey completed and submitted by city departments and the Housing Authority. The report addressed item number 2 above by providing a comprehensive assessment of the funding and programmatic ways the city supports youth by listing survey results by department, youth program title, description of services provided by the youth program, funding sources, estimated funding level, and youth counts. Results of the survey indicated that 25 city departments and the Housing Department provided 133 youth programs with approximate funding level of $178.1 million in direct costs funded for fiscal year 2017-18. Programs generally fell under the following categories: education, recreation, arts, culture, social justice and empowerment, economic and workforce development, housing, and community safety. Options for establishing an executive task force for youth development consisted of, according to we report that the CLA report provides the following proposed options for the composition of the task force and the selection process for members, which would result in a minimum of 9 members to the task force. 5 members representative of the city youth program categories. One person appointed by the chair of each council committee that oversees these respective categories. At a minimum, 4 members representatives of key stakeholders of the following: 2 members between the ages of 16 and 19, 1 each appointed by the mayor and council president respectively, and 2 members, 1 each appointed by the mayor and council president respectively, with said members being the parent/guardian of youth under the age of 21. Additionally, remaining council members should be afforded the opportunity to appoint 1 member representative prior to the scheduling of the first task force meeting. The CLA report notes that the city-created task force will be subject to the Brown Act. And also the CLA and CAO could assist the task force in establishing regular meetings and facilitating a Brown Act training session from the Office of the City Attorney. During its formation and completion of the strategy, the task force would also advise council and mayor on issues related to youth development, as well as assist the city determining steps to implement the strategy through the establishment of a new development department or commission/office within the existing department. That's all. If you have any questions.
Okay. Mrs. Rodriguez, any questions?
No, I mean, I've read the report. I think we've clearly heard the testimony for the need to assure that, the needs of our youth in the city don't end at 18 years of age and 19 years of age. They extend beyond that. We have young adults that still need guidance, youth that are emancipated from the foster care system. There are needs that extend far beyond the age of hitting adulthood and what that qualifies them to do. So I have some amendments that I'd like to have adopted. And also just, again, with the goal of assuring that because this is going to be a Brown Act, it's going to be a task force, a functioning, working task force. We need to assure that we are not going to impede our own efforts by not achieving quorum and assuring that we are going to have the full, thoughtful participation of individuals that are truly dedicated in helping us to shepherd this work forward. I would hate for us to limit ourselves in that way, and I think that's very important. So I'd like to make some amendments.
You may, this time.
Thank you.
Be appropriate.
So thank you, CLA, for the report. I'd like to adopt recommendations 1A1 through A3 and B1 and 2, and as well as items 2, 3, and 4 in the report, the recommendations of the report. And I'd like to add the amend to reflect that 2 members shall be appointed by the Chair of Public Safety, and recommend that the age of the youth appointees range between the ages of 16 and 24. And again, and this is to assure that that we are able to have a functioning body, working task force members that will help make sure that we will make thoughtful recommendations and tending to the needs of the diversity of the individuals of the respective committees that I think are relevant to the conversation.
Okay, I think those are all well thought out amendments. I'm certainly prepared to support them and would move that we approve the CLA report with the recommendations, with the additions proposed. And if there's no objections, that will be the order.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Oh, we still have one.
Okay, next item, Mr. Clerk.
Next item is item number 5. That is a report from the City Administrative Officer and Economic Workforce Development Department and Workforce Development Board Joint Report relative to the reallocation of funds for implementation of the Gang Injunction Curfew Settlement Agreement.
Okay, this gang injunction settlement agreement is something else that impacts young people that have lost their way. And this program is designed to help provide guidance and assistance, helping these young folks get back on the right track. And so let's hear from EWDD, CLA.
With the CAO.
CAO?
Yes, Shafi Amir with the CAO, and we have EWDD here with us.
Hello, I'm Gerardo Rubalcaba with EWDD.
And so before you, we have the CAO report, which recommends approval of EWDD's request to reallocate funds among the service providers implementing the employment development services under the Gang Injunction Curfew Settlement Agreement, also known as the Rodriguez Settlement Agreement. This settlement agreement. I'm sorry.
I said no relation.
Oh, excuse me. This settlement agreement obligates the city to provide job readiness services, subsidized employment, and other assistance to the eligible plaintiff class members. Specifically, the CAO is recommending approval for EWDD to transfer a total of $875,000 from the current contracts for 9 service providers to another service provider, which is the Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles, HACLA, which is the 10th service provider. EWDD has stated that HACLA is on track to completely expend their current year contract by October 2019 because they're enrolling participants at a much faster pace than those other service providers which have unexpended funds. And so the only change from the request, from what EWDD requested, that we're recommending is to take out YPI, which is a Youth Policy Institute. That matter will be handled in a separate forthcoming transmittal. So EWDD can address that issue as well, if there's any questions. The transfer of the 875 will allow HACLA to enroll an additional 87 eligible participants in this program, and no new funds are being requested. These are just changes within the current existing contracts that the city has already funded. And that's the main gist of it. We can answer your questions, or if you have questions.
How long have we been engaged in this outreach effort?
The outreach, the implementation of the Rodriguez settlement began in June 2017. That's the start date because it's supposed to go for 4 years. And the outreach, I believe, had been taking place even before. Gerardo maybe will speak to that.
Yeah, well, we have been doing a number of different efforts. A lot of it is community meetings, trying to get word out to participants. However, in about June of this year, we did start a media campaign. So we contracted with KJLH and K-Day to run social media campaigns to notify individuals about.
I heard them; they were very effective.
They're very impressive. So we did start that in again approximately June. So we have been running those through September. We've also been more active in doing just different community events. The third thing that we've done is modified contracts to allow the contractors to use a portion of their funding to do their own media outreach. So we've been implementing a number of different strategies and have started to see some results. So we've had about a 15% increase in the number of participants that have been responding.
And what does that number represent? What that 50% represent?
Well,
How many?
the total number now of participants that have had their claims approved is about 757. We have close to about 385 participants that are currently active and receiving services. So it's been a little bit of an increase.
Mm-hmm. And how has HACLA been so successful, you think? Any insight on what they've been doing? Because it's a dramatic, not a dramatic difference, but certainly an improved difference over the others.
They've just been effective at communicating with their community, and using word of mouth. So I think what we found is once people understand that this is a real program and that there's real benefits, then, through word of mouth, it starts spreading and more people start coming in through our doors. So they were really the first one that found that kind of, whatever that magic touch was. And once they started, they've just had a number or it's just kind of, snowballed and have had a number of.
And how long is this program going to be in effect? How long will it last?
The original settlement was for 4 years.
So it'll go through the next fiscal year, which is in 2021, I believe. It'll go through May 20, is the 4-year implementation period.
Okay. Councilwoman?
No, I'm good.
And so how were the initial groups selected that have been involved in the outreach? How?
Well, in terms of the initial contractors, it consisted primarily of our workforce development system, so the 16 WorkSource centers. We also expanded that list to our LA Rise service providers. So we were really, working with organizations that were in the field providing workforce development services and working with high barrier populations.
Okay, well, any other questions? No other questions. I'm going to move we approve the CAO report recommendations. And if there's no objections with that second, that'll be the order. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks much for your help. All right, Mr. Clerk, what's left?
The desk is clear.
Desk is clear. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
No, that was a good show. Thank you.